Welcome back to Worthington Model Railway, and this is part 2 of what's going to end up being a 3-part video on installing Tortoise point motors. So in the previous video we talked about wiring up and getting the point motors all set and ready to install. In this video, we will install point motors on just a simple regular 2-way point, and then in the next video we'll install 2-point motors on the 3-way points that we talked about in the previous video. So let's get going. Now I'm going to temporarily prepare a panel to put my switches on. This probably won't be what I'll finalize, because I'll end up with something with LEDs and showing the points and what have you. But this is just temporary for me to get started here. So basically what I'm doing is I found a drill bit that's the right size for these switches, and we'll just put the switches on this panel, and also put a block on the back of the panel that I can put the DC input to. So basically it's just drill some holes and put the switches in place. Put a couple more switches on here than I need, but that way it's going to be easier, and I've got extras as I try to do this. Sometimes happens in these projects. I said something earlier that wasn't true, and that has now caused me a problem that I got to fix. I'm going to run DC to this board, and then every one of these is going to be connected to that DC. But I want them all connected the same way, and you'll see here that we get some with green to the right and some with yellow to the right. So I need to fix all these, get them all the same, and then once I've got them all the same, then I'll add the connector wires to the top of each one of these switches that'll go to the DC input to the board. So I'm just going to go away and do that, and we'll come back when it's all fixed. It took a while, and it does look a bit like a rat's nest. I'm going to just need to tidy that wiring up a little bit, but I now have all the wires and all the switches, and the switches wired into a central block here that I'll use to attach to the DC bus to get power. So one point I will mention is I did test this. So what I did was I took a 9-volt battery and tied that into the positive and negative side. Every one of these switches now has a positive and negative attached, and if I touch them to the motor, actually I don't know if you can see this motor, but you can now. Yep. So if I touch these to the motor, they will move it one way or the other. So I went through each one and tested it. Wanted to make sure that I had no dry joints anywhere. And every one of these, they're all switched on, by the way, on the other side. But you'll see there, as I test them, each one of them causes the point motor to move one way or the other. So, as I said, upwards and onwards. Welcome back to Worthington Model Railway, and today I'm going to continue our Tortoise point motor adventure, and I'm going to start to put some of these on the layout. Now initially I'm just going to do these simple 2-way points, and later we will look at these 3-way points, but let's just use the 2-way point initially just as an example. So first thing I need to do is install the motor, which needs to go underneath the track. So I'm going to do that. I will try to film as much as I can of this as I'm doing it. Obviously some of this is going to involve crawling around underneath the baseboards, but we can try to drop the camera down and see if we can see what's going on as I do that. So here there's a hole through the baseboard. Don't think you can see that. Hang on. There's my finger. So here, where the throw is for the point, there's already a hole drilled through the baseboard, and we have the wires in place on the points too. So I'm going to install the motor. So to start with, I'm just going to put this throw right into the middle, so it'll be in the right place. We'll put this into the middle, and we've got a good starting point to get everything together. So this I also put to the middle. I think you can see that there. The problem I encountered here is this kind of is a two-person job, and I'm only one person, but a tip that I remember seeing somewhere is double-sided sticky. I'm going to take a piece of double-sided sticky, and we're going to put it onto the top of the Tortoise there, and that will help me to just stick this in the right place as I'm trying to maneuver it. That certainly seems to have helped. Let me try to make sure this is in the right place, and then we'll put some screws in to hold it. But that double-sided sticky is definitely a great way to start here. You can see the armature coming up through the middle of the points. What I'm going to do is going to take a 9-volt battery to test this, and we'll connect the battery up to the wires on the motor and watch it throw and see that it's going to throw the right way, and if need be adjust that green piece that we saw on the motor before. So I'm going to go and connect this and watch that throw. You should be able to see it move as I connect these wires up. Okay, it's throwing that way. Now let's change the polarity, and it should throw the opposite direction. We'll see how it throws. Okay, that's not doing what I wanted to do, so let me try adjusting this a bit. So with a little adjustment, we now have this working. So I am going to throw it one way, and then I'm going to throw it the other way. So I need to connect this motor. We'll put a couple of screws in there, and then we'll get on with the wiring. Okay, I'm hoping you can see what I'm going to do here. I did order some fancy connectors. They haven't arrived yet, so I'm just going to use these connectors. But what I got to do is I got to take the white wire and the blue wire from here, and I got to connect them into the bus wires, and not quite sure which one I need where for the moment. I'm going to have to test this and see which wire I want, but I'm just going to connect these up initially, and we'll see if we have it the right way. Okay, this is pretty awkward, so I'm going to connect this up and then come back. Having wired that up now, I've also wired up the frog to the green wire. I have a 50-50 chance of this being right, because this is the first one I've done, so I need to understand polarity. So I'm going to go turn on the DCC and see if I've got a short or not, which I will very quickly see from my control panel. If I don't, then it's the right way. If I do, then I've got to turn them around. So as I've said before, I do have this control panel here with multiple power zones. If there was a short, I'd have a light over here. Let me short out one of these, and you'll see where the short light comes in. So Let me try to short out this particular zone. And you'll see the light here is the short. Take that off, let me get back to normal. So let me just throw this switch both ways, see that there's no short on the other side. Switch is thrown, and no short. So we're good to go. All I need to do now is install some more of these. I'm going to install the two-way ones first, and then I'll get on with the three-way one, and we'll do a video about the wiring on the three-way one, which will be a little bit more complex. So just to try to show what's going on here, the white is connected to the red bus, the blue is connected to the black bus, the green is connected to the frog juicer, and then the red and the black are connected back to the switch. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. A little bit of a mess of wires under here that needs still some tidying up, but that's the configuration. Having wired the switch in, now if I flick the switch you should see the motor move. And if I flick the switch the other way, see the motor move the other way. So that's the job done. Just need to make sure that I'm getting the right polarity to the frog, but I'm sure that's good. I'm going to test that now by turning the DCC on and moving the switch and making sure I get no short circuits. I can't really show that, but I'm going to go do that next. And then the last thing I'm going to need to do is cut off this wire here. You see the one that's poking up? We'll just cut that flush, and that will be done. Real mess and junk, but that's what comes when you're working. But let's just run a locomotive through the point, see that it gets through there fine. Fingers crossed that it's going to work. I think that job's good. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this will help somebody that may be trying to do a similar job. It does take a while. Believe it or not, this is a condensed video, but this is about 2.5 hours of work to get these two motors installed. I've still got quite a few to do yet. We'll do another video on the wiring of the three-way motors because they're more complex. In the meantime, please like and subscribe. You can subscribe with a button to the top right, another video to the top left.